Thank you and welcome. Yeah, let's start. First question will come. In the first row, microphone please. Christian Falk für Sportbild.
You don't like it to talk about individual players, but it's a very special player, Thomas Müller. He started in the first game. In the second game, Serge Gnabry got the nod ahead of him. Every game could be his last now for Bayern Munich. Can you tell us how big the chances are for him to start tomorrow's game, how many minutes he will get, and why didn't he play in the last game? Well, I'm not going to talk about minutes for tomorrow. And the starting 11 is a question of competition. We have a lot of good players in the squad. And everyone has his role, and every role is important for us. And that's why I have to say I'm not looking at the individual minutes. For me, it's important that the collective works, because that's what makes us strong, and that's what was the case till now. Vincent, a lot has been talked about the weather and the heat. Some are talking about 107 degrees Fahrenheit. That's almost 40 degrees Celsius. How did you prepare the team, and do you see that critical that the games are being played at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Well, it's not on me to judge whether that is critical or not. The medical experts should have their saying, but it could be a factor tomorrow. It could get really hot, and that could influence the game, but that's the same for both teams, and that's the only thing that's really fair. That's that Benfica has the same environment as we have, but if it feels like 40 degrees, then it's not the same situation like in the Champions League when we played during wintertime against them. It's going to be completely different tomorrow. It's going to influence the game, no doubt about that. But we're going to plan accordingly. We're not going to be surprised that it's that hot.
Yes, hello, Arch Bell with FIFA.com. Vincent, can you just highlight for all of us here what stands out about Benfica when you look at them and how you approach this game? What stands out about Benfica?
Well, we played them before, so it's a team we know really well. And there's always the two sides to these games. We play against teams who are extremely dominant in the league, with high quality. I think Pavlidis, Di Maria, Aktürkoğlu and Kokshu and so on, and I can keep naming them. They're all players who can score goals. They're all players who are used to be killers in the leagues. And obviously then for them, when they play against teams like us, there's always this mix between sometimes adapting to the opponent or continuing and finding the balance between still continuing your way. So you see these games being not always as predictable, because you're watching a lot of games from them where they're super dominant. But tomorrow we have the same goal as we have the same ambition for that game. So in that sense, it creates sometimes a different picture than what you actually see on a day-to-day basis from them, because they're always the best in the league.
Auch in der ersten Reihe Vincent Kompany für TZ Merkur.
Hello, Herr Kompany.
Hello, Mr. Kompany. What differences did you see between the European and the South American teams? And Bayern plays against different teams with different profiles. How important is it to have flexible players to adapt to that? Well, I think that tactically a lot is happening in Europe as well. That's completely normal in modern-day football, that you have to make switches and adaptations during a game. but you try to not change your principles completely. And the South American teams, they did a good job so far, but it's not a surprise. That's what I said earlier already. If you know the quality in South America and how the games go. But the biggest difference is how this tournament is being received in South America. And I know to all of us, it's completely our number one priority. But I think in Europe, it's a bit of a difference how this is being received compared to how the South Americans are experiencing this tournament. But other than that, there are no huge surprises. We know that against Boca, we've seen how much emotions are playing a role, not only the tactical or the physical aspects of games. But I believe that we have the rhythm now and that there are not too many surprises as we've seen so many games already.
Arturo Euskotegi for Relentless Sports. Going into your second year after coming off of a very successful first season and these past two matches, what are some things that you have seen that you can say that you can the team can still improve going into the third match and then moving forward in the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us I mean, it's asking a little bit about last season as well and what the conclusions are from last season. I think we've been the better team in most games. I don't think there's many games. There will be 1 or 2 or 3 games that you'll find where, of course, we had an off day. That happens. But I don't think you'll find many games where we were ever not the better team. But of course, you want to win all the trophies, and for that you need to be there in every big moment as well. And you need to have all your players available, fit. So if there's anything I could wish for our team, I mentioned some of the underlying numbers to our performance that are really positive in one of the last press conferences. But if I'm looking forward towards what we want for the future, of course, is just in the big moments having all our players available so that we give ourselves the best possible chance to win the other trophies as well, to win more. But it's football, I was looking at the other day. I was just sat across Thomas Müller, and I realized that obviously he won 2 Champions League, which is unbelievable. But he has 17 attempts or 18 attempts, and that's how demanding these competitions are. And the Club World Cup is maybe even less attempts that you get. And so these big competitions are about big moments, and for that you need your squad to be fully there. And so that's how we're trying to work our way towards the next step, because in the content we showed a lot of promising signs.
Next one in the last row. Can you show your hand, please? Yeah.
Hi. Hello, Vincent. Would you buy a draw tomorrow? It could be a good result for both teams because of the hit.
I cannot speak about a draw. It's impossible.
And the another question, what Benfica do you expect tomorrow? Different from the Benfica from the Champions League?
Honestly, I don't know. I know what they did against us in the Champions League very, very clearly. They were extremely compact in a 5-3-2. They were trying to use transitions with the wing-backs and the 2 strikers they had, releasing sometimes one of the midfielders. That was very clear. But we were more or less, always pushing and pushing them really deep. So for us, it wasn't a bad game at all. And then obviously the rest of the games, and when you watch them against Boca, they were more aggressive in a back 4, trying to press higher, trying to also dominate the game. So because it's 2 different sides, it's for us the best way to prepare these games is to prepare for both scenarios, or maybe 2 or 3 scenarios. And if they're in a deep block, we will be prepared. If they press high, we will do our homework as well. And the how they will play tomorrow, I think only the Benfica players and the coach can answer.
Next one on the right side, yeah, please.
Hi, Vincent. You have worked in a few clubs. You have a lot of experience. I would like to hear your thoughts on Bayern's mentality, because the club is known for its hard work and professionalism. So I would like you to hear what you think about that, please.
Yeah, I think it's something we will even share with many clubs at this World Cup, because all the clubs here are winners in one way or another. It's the same at, I can imagine it's the same at Benfica. I think it's something we live every day. It's that sort of a feeling that even winning is not enough. You're always looking for more. If you perform well and you don't win, it's a story. If you win and you don't perform well, it's a story. And if you win but you don't win everything, it's also something, right? So, but I think that's what we're used to as well. So I think, other than that, there's obviously a very strong cultural side for Bayern Munich, where I think the sort of minimum expectation is that you show real hard work. I think that's something that for a top club and a top team is definitely lives very strongly here. At the center. So we try and match these expectations, and then the exciting part about football is everything else. Is as long as you're in the game, as long as you're there, you have a chance to achieve the best things. And at a club like this, it's possible, and people believe in that.
And left side.
Hi, Vincent.
Second row, yes.
It's special to see Otamendi again.
Yeah, for sure. We've played many games together at each other's side. I think we both used to be, we love the physical side of the game. We love the painful side of the game as well. And it's always good to see him, of course. And I have good memories, fantastic memories that we experienced together.
Back to the right side, yes, please.
Hallo, Company, Hendrik Buchmeister vom RND. Mich würden Ihre ersten Eindrücke zu Jonathan Tah...
What are your first impressions of Jonathan Tah? He didn't look too happy with the 1-1 against Boca. How is he...
Das einfach wichtig ist, dass ein Spieler sich sofort wohlfühlt, wenn
I think it's the most important thing that a player feels at home when he comes into our squad. We don't have to talk about his talent and his abilities. He has achieved everything in the Bundesliga so far. Now it's his next step with his role, and he will develop into a leading figure in our team pretty quickly, I guess. And I'm not someone who is looking too much as those individual situations that it's only one player why we conceded a goal, because that's too easy. But we still have to go on, and what's most important is that the talent is there, that the abilities are there, and the player has the qualities for us. And I believe that you all know that he's the right fit.
Hi, Vincent.
Alex Pavlovic and Leon Goretzka were just talking about spending their spare time on the pool or playing golf. Do you also have time for that? No chance. But it's a mixture, as the players are really practicing really well and hard, but it's warm as well, but we still don't want to lose our rhythm and our intensity and practice, and so that's a lot being asked from the players. But normally when we are in Munich, they can go home and spend time with their families, and so it's important that they don't suffer from cabin fever. Is that a German word at all?
Schönes Wort. Okay, aber ihr habt alles alle verstanden, oder?
But you know what I mean, so that's the most important.
Genau. Aber diese Kabine-Fever und aber am Ende ist einfach wichtig, dass wir.
But in the end, what's most important is that we must not forget what the normal life is, and that we find the right mixture in between being full throttle and still treating them like adult people who know what they do in order to go to work on the next day as well.
Sie haben gerade schon gesagt, dass dieses Turnier in Europa
Mr. Kompany, which is saying that this tournament is being received in Europe differently than in South America. Your goal is to win the tournament. Well, if I take the Boca game as an example, then absolutely. But apart from this sporting perspective, now that the group stage is almost over, we had empty seats in the first games, then it was a full crowd against Boca. What are your impressions about the tournament? Well, our experience so far was really good, and I really love football. And you're talking about stadiums and the attendance and how many people are not there. Well, we had lots of people in the stadium all the time, so it was a bit of a different feeling for us than for other teams. But what's most important is that the European teams can play against South American teams, and the African teams and the Asian teams are involved as well, which is very good for the development of football. And other than that, those teams can never play against each other in the same competition. This tournament has been criticized with the workload of the players, and a lot has been discussed about this. Can you tell us what's positive about this tournament? I can imagine if you have really that intense time with the team in that condensed situation, can you work on different things, and which type of coach profits the most from this situation?
Yeah. So if there is an advantage for us being here in comparison to clubs who are not here, that I don't know. I think there's two sides to the argument. I think there's the argument of us building team cohesion and spending time, and it's perhaps faster for the integration of players like Jonathan Tah and Tom Bischoff and players who are just joining, because normally you have to have a pre-season and a lot of games. Here you're straight in the middle of it, so maybe in that sense. But in the end, I think there's a counter argument as well, that for the next season we will have almost no preparation. I mean, if you look at all the scientific research around what is the right type of preparation to prepare a new season, I mean, we are just we're throwing the book away and we're just going to start the new season with all the pressures that you have to win every game as well. So I think in that sense, there's two sides to the argument. But, you know, in general, I've not seen, in general, it's been a different experience, because I think going with the national team to a tournament, because I think that's what it gets compared to the most, you have this long time without each other, and then you just all of a sudden you land together, and you know you use every day, because you need to get to know each other as a team as well. We already know each other, and so it's a totally new experience to go and then spend another 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks together for a tournament. But it's got its advantages as well, because we're working on details, whereas in national teams you're working on basics, and that's why, yeah, it's an interesting experience.
In der letzten Reihe, Carrie Howe für Sky, bitte.
Ja, hallo Vincent. Jonas Urbich hat auf die
Jonas Urbich was skipping the under-21s European Championship in order to play here. Could tomorrow be a chance for him to play, or will Manuel Neuer play in goal? Well, I said it prior to this tournament, and we were communicating this clearly 2 weeks ago, a month ago. The role of Manuel Neuer is to be the number one and get us through the tournament as far as possible with his leadership and with his qualities. And there is zero discussion. If Manu is fit, then we are all very happy about it. But with the constellation that we have with those two goalkeepers, and you have Daniel Perez as well, so with all the goalkeepers, we have Jonas is talent, under 21 goalkeeper, but still experienced already, and it is a good experience for him to be part at this Club World Cup. And hopefully Manu will stay fit, but regardless, with the Jonas, we have a very good goalkeeper for the future. Vince, at the end of last season, a lot of rumors were around René Mauch and Frank Gers that your assistant coaches could move to a different club. Will they stay with you as your assistants? And what does it mean if those assistants are being connected with other clubs? Are you worried about losing important people in your staff? Well, I cannot really say anything about it. There are a lot of rumors. Not all of them are true, and we're very stable and busy with our work, and everything other than that is really speculation and really not important.
Thank you very much. We have another media activity coming up with Benfica in half an hour, and then another press conference in 1 hour. So thank you for this one, and we like you to stay if you want to, or leave if you want to, but we are leaving now. Thank you.
Thank you.